Welcome to Frontline Today. In this report, we're examining growing tensions around the Strait of Hormuz and the increasing pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump on NATO allies to assist in reopening one of the world's most critical shipping routes for oil and gas tankers. Despite Washington's calls for support, many NATO members appear hesitant to quickly join the effort. Several analysts say the cautious response from NATO countries may not be surprising when considering the recent history of relations between the United States and its allies. Only weeks ago, tensions rose after comments from President Trump about taking control of Greenland, a territory connected to Denmark, which is a NATO member. Although the situation eventually cooled down, it added to existing friction between the U.S. administration and some alliance partners. Over the past few years, Trump has frequently criticized NATO members for what he describes as insufficient military spending and reliance on American defense support. Now the situation has shifted. The United States is seeking assistance after a conflict involving Israel and Iran escalated and began affecting maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Earlier, the U.S. administration suggested that it did not require British naval support for operations in the region. But now Washington is calling on partners across the world to contribute ships, technology, or logistical assistance to protect commercial shipping. Some European defense officials argue that NATO was originally designed as a defensive alliance meant to protect members from external threats, not necessarily to support military operations initiated by individual nations. That perspective appears to reflect the attitude of several NATO governments today. However, the issue is complicated. Even if countries disagree with the origins of the conflict, they still face a global challenge: the safe passage of vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway is one of the most important energy routes in the world. Ensuring freedom of navigation there has become a pressing concern for the global economy. President Trump has suggested that failing to support the effort could have consequences for NATO's future. Political observers say this kind of rhetoric is typical of Trump's negotiating style. He often uses strong public statements to push allies or partners toward action. One concern often raised in Europe is the possibility that the United States might reduce its commitment to NATO in the future. For decades, American military power has been the backbone of the alliance's collective defense. Still, many analysts believe Trump's remarks should be interpreted more as pressure tactics than concrete threats. Different NATO countries are reacting in different ways. The United Kingdom has indicated that restoring safe navigation through the Strait of Hormuz is important, but British officials believe de-escalation between the parties involved would be the best long-term solution. At the same time, London has suggested that new technologies, such as drones capable of detecting and neutralizing naval mines, could potentially assist in protecting shipping lanes. France previously discussed the possibility of sending naval vessels to escort tankers through the region. However, French officials now appear more cautious about committing forces. Germany has taken an even firmer position, stating it does not intend to participate in such an operation. Meanwhile, countries like Spain and Italy are also expressing reservations. Their concern centers around the risks involved in operating inside a potentially hostile environment. Experts warned that any naval mission in the Strait of Hormuz could face multiple dangers. Possible threats include naval mines placed in shipping lanes, fast attack boats operated by Iranian forces, and missile systems positioned along the coastline. Because of these risks, many governments want to see a clear strategy before committing ships and personnel to the region. Military planners say such an operation would require extensive coordination, advanced surveillance systems, and strong defensive capabilities. Some European officials question how much difference a few additional naval vessels would make compared to the vast military power already possessed by the United States. However, Washington is seeking more than just equipment or ships. International participation would help present the operation as a global effort to protect trade routes, rather than a purely American military initiative. This distinction could reduce diplomatic tensions and potentially make participating vessels less likely to be viewed as direct combatants. Still, building such an international coalition remains a significant challenge. President Trump has also called on several Asian countries to consider sending naval forces. South Korea, China, and Japan are among the nations mentioned. The main argument for participation is economic. Around 20% of the world's oil exports pass through the Strait of Hormuz, making it vital for energy security across Asia. However, reactions have been cautious. Japan's leadership has stated that it currently has no plans to send ships to the Gulf. China presents an interesting case. Some tankers carrying Iranian oil have reportedly been able to pass through the strait without interference, suggesting that certain shipping arrangements are being negotiated directly with Iran. Other vessels connected to countries like India and Pakistan have also reportedly traveled through the area without major incidents. Iran has repeatedly stated that the waterway is not completely closed, but warns that ships connected to nations involved in the conflict may face risks. For any government considering participation, the political stakes are extremely high. If a naval vessel were attacked or sunk, the consequences for national leadership could be severe. Public opinion in many countries is already cautious about becoming involved in a conflict that they did not initiate. At the same time, the global economy depends heavily on uninterrupted energy supplies from the Gulf region. Despite disagreements and diplomatic tensions, most world leaders agree on one thing: the situation in the Strait of Hormuz cannot remain unresolved. The waterway is simply too important to global trade and energy markets. While the United States is pushing for international assistance, many governments are still weighing the risks of military involvement against the need to protect global shipping. Finding a solution, whether diplomatic, technological, or military, may require cooperation from multiple nations. And as the situation continues to develop, the world will be watching closely. This is Frontline Today, bringing you the latest global developments and strategic insights. For more breaking news and international analysis, make sure to subscribe and stay informed.